Jain everyone. Welcoming you all to the second lecture of the series Jain Festivals. Again, we have Dr. Pallavi with us, and she'll be continuing the lecture which we had last week. And last week we studied about the eternal festivals and some part of periodic festival as well. I would request Pallavi ji to continue the lecture and just give the second lecture start.
Thank you, Harshilji. Jai Jinendra, everyone. Let us start with Manglacharan. Namo Arhantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Love Savasa Hunam. मङ्गलं भगवान् वीरो मङ्गलं गौतमो गणी मङ्गलं कुन्दकुन्दार्यो जैनधर्मो स्तु मङ्गलम् सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वकल्याणकारकं प्रधानं सर्वधर्मनां जैनं जयतु शासनम् जैनं जयतु शासनम्. Sorry and excuse me for that crotchy throat today. Let us start with our discussion. Let's continue our discussions about festivals. Last week we saw the importance of festivals and the meaning of the word festivals. We saw festival was to be joyful, and this is what the entire session is about leading us to a place of peace and joy. We saw about the two types of festivals, the eternal festivals and the periodic festivals. And we discussed about a few of the eternal festivals. And touching base upon the first periodic festival, which was Shrut Panchami, we saw that periodic festivals are those who are celebrated within a specific time, and they are associated with either a particular individual or event. Now, our Tirthankars and esteemed saints who have achieved remarkable feasts and brought glory to our religion, the entire purpose of celebrating is to remember them and to emulate their values, which instill in us patience, perseverance, dedication along the path of liberation. And most importantly, they serve as catalysts for religious contemplation. We saw a little bit about Shrut Panchami, and it was celebrated annually only once, and we revered Dharsen Acharya, who was in the lineage of Acharyas right from Mahavir Swami. All his preachings and his sermons were emulated by Gautam Swami, and we had three Anubadha Kevalis. When Mahavir Swami attained liberation, the same day Gautam Swami attained Keval Gyan. The day he attained liberation, Sudharma Swami attained Keval Gyan. And the day Sudharma Swami attained liberation, it was Jambu Swami who attained Keval Gyan. So these were the three Anubadha Kevalis, the ones who were in succession to each other. And after the three Anubadha Kevalis, we had five Shruta Kevalis named Nandi, Nandi Mitra, Govardhan, Aparajit, Govardhan, and Bhadrabahu Swami. So for 683 years, there was oral transfer of all the knowledge. And had it been for Acharya Dharsen's vision, his foresight, we would not have been able to have access to all the knowledge, all the wisdom of our Tirthankars, which was scripted by our Acharyas, which was composed by our Gandhars, and then passed on and scripted to our Acharyas. So, have you ever wondered, 2000 years ago, Shruta Panchami was celebrated because it was the completion of the day when the first Shastra, when the first scripture of Shat Khandagam was written. Well, how and why should we celebrate it now? What would be the best way to celebrate, to thank all our acharyas for their endless hard work, sharing teaching, transferring that knowledge and wisdom to all those around us. You could help, any one of us could help with our wealth, wisdom, time in any possible way. And well, at least applaud, appreciate, or have anumodana for anyone and everyone who learns, who hears, and teaches Janvani. Our acharyas have sacrificed their entire lives, and the least we can do is to indulge in daily swadhyaya. Just as food nourishes our body, it is swadhyaya that nourishes our soul. Shrut Panchami is not just about protecting and preserving the scriptures on the bookshelves. It is also about protecting the scriptures, protecting the Shrut, the knowledge in our hearts. Let Tattva Gyan flow through our blood and through every breath. All our conflicts, all problems can be resolved through Tattva Gyan, and there is no other way of doing it so beautifully. Jinvani Ma, she teaches us not just the art of living, but also the art of dying. So we all must take a vow of daily swadhyay, not just reading, but reading, repeating, reflecting, and most importantly, it is about self realization. That would be the true celebration of Shruta Panchami. And now let's go on to our next periodic festival, which is Akshay Tritiya. What does the word Akshay even mean? Akshay is unending, never ending, eternal. It comes annually once, and it's on the third day of the waxing lunar phase of Vaishak, which is also known as Vaishak Shukla Tritiya, which is around the April May calendar. Now, it marks the day when the tradition of offering food to our Jain monks, which is Ahar Dan, there's four types of Dan: Ahar Dan, Aushad Dan, Shastra Dan, Abhay Dan, out of which Ahar Dan means food, Shastra Dan is knowledge or scriptures, Abhay Dan is fearlessness, the gift of life, and Aushad Dan is medicine in terms of disease. When Rishabdev Muniraj embraced asceticism, he became the first ascetic of his time cycle. Now, Rishabdev, when he was a king, when he was a prince, he taught us about defense, numeracy, literacy, trade, agriculture, arts, and he also taught us asceticism when he renounced his kingdom and all his possessions. And hence he is called the father of civilization. Now, Muni Rishabdev, he went for 7 months. As soon as he took to renunciation, he observed penance for 6 months without consuming a morsel of food or a drop of water. Later, he attempted to break his fast, and householders some offered him clothes, some offered him food, but which wasn't made ensuring the purity. Some offered jewels, some actually offered them their daughters to get married to him. But no one knew what the procedure, what the protocol of giving ahar to a Muniraj was. So the Muni Rishabdev, he refrained from breaking his fast and resumed deep penance. This persisted for another 7 months and 13 days, during which he could not break his fast. And then, as he approached Hastinapur, Prince Shreyans Kumar, he experienced a very extraordinary dream, which was giving him a message foretelling the beginning of a significant event. Something very auspicious was about to happen. On the same day, Rishab Muniraj entered his kingdom of Hastinapur, and seeing that, Muniraj stirred Shreyans Kumar's past memory of the life when he reverently had offered food to a true monk. Subsequently, Shreyansh Kumar followed the 9 step ritual of reverence, which is also known as Navada Bhakti, which ensures purity of the mind, body, and food. This auspicious day is witnessed as Muni Rishabdev accepting food in the form of sugarcane juice for the first time. Now, have you ever wondered, Muni Rishabdev, as soon as he was renunciated, he already had four knowledges. So he had Mati Gyan, Shruta Gyan, Avadi Gyan, which is clairvoyance. clairvoyance. And why did he not apply his clairvoyance when he was not getting ahar for 7 months? Have you ever wondered why? Well, he couldn't be bothered because he was so deeply discerning the wisdom of discrimination, the bhed vigyan between the body and soul. So Shuddhopyog or pure disposition was his ahar, was his food for the 7 months. And Atma Raman or Swarup Raman, staying deeply engrossed in his soul, was his vihar. So that's where he was traveling. And most people on the day of Akshay Tritiya, they would buy gold or drink sugarcane juice. But in reality, what would be the real celebration of Akshay Tritiya? To drink the wisdom, the elixir of wisdom, which is Gyan Amrut. Now, our Muniraj, they sway between the sixth and seventh Gunasthan, the rung of the spiritual ladder to liberation. And we sway between attachment and aversion, between rag and dvesh. So, this is a day for reverence of gurus, for indulgence in their magnificence of the soul. What do we even learn from this auspicious day of Akshay Tritiya? As we commemorate this festival, we must harbor a very sincere inclination to offer food to all true monks and heed their teachings with unwavering faith. Drawing inspiration from Rishabdev Muniraj, he remained absolutely resolute despite all the adversities for over 11 months. We should emulate his ability to overcome challenges by redirecting our focus from the external to our own pure nature. And in doing so, we can then emerge victorious in every challenge present to us. The only way to emerge victorious is the way within. Such a profound message from our festival of Akshay Tritiya. Now let's come to the next festival, which is Raksha Bandhan. And the very word Raksha Bandhan, also called Muni Raksha Din, and Raksha Bandhan, Bandhan is bondage, and Raksha is protection. Let's see what sort of protection from bondage does this mean. When is it celebrated? Annually once on the full moon day in the month of Shravan, which is Shravan Shukla Purnima, about the month of July and August. About Muni Raksha Din. Now, this day is commonly celebrated as Raksha Bandhan. And have you wondered since when is this day celebrated? In most traditions in India, the sister ties a Rakhi to the brother, and which symbolizes his promise to protect her from all the harm. However, Jainism presents a very different perspective and a narrative here, which we will have a look into. This is celebrated ever since Mallinath Bhagwan's era, ever since his Shasan Kal. So it's a very long time before. On this day of Muni Raksha Din, Vishnu Kumar Muniraj, he was moved by the compassion and the love, which is the Vatsalya Bhav for his co-religionists, and relinquished his monkhood to shield Akampanacharya and his 700 disciples from afflictions and suffering. So here is Akampanacharya and 700 of his disciples who were afflicted, and there was fire all around them. And Vishnu Kumar Muniraj, who was not present there at that moment, but because of his of the Gyan, because of his knowledge, he was moved by compassion to see other Muniraj being afflicted like that, and using his extraordinary power known as Vikriya Riddhi. Now, certain Muniraj have these supernatural powers which you and I can't even imagine about, and neither did Vishnu Kumar Muniraj know about he possessing this riddhi. However, when he got to know that he had his riddhi, he applied it, and this allowed him to alter his body size and shape. And Vishnu Kumar Muniraj, he provided protection to the Jain monks. His virtuous intent shielded the ascetics from the agonies of fire. On this occasion, we celebrate such selfless love. Now, a point to remember, Vishnu Kumar Muniraj, he gave up his Muni Dasha. He came into Shravak, he became a householder before he wore his clothes and before he took uh, the form of a little Brahmin, of a little dwarf Brahmin, and before he came to the city of Hastinapur to save Akampanacharya and the other Muni Raj. On Muni Raksha Din each year, we must strive to protect ourselves and break free from all the bonds of karma to attain eternal liberation. So, Raksha is protection and Bandha is bondage. So, bondage of karmas, bondage of life and death, bondage from the cycle of transmigration. Now, we must protect ourselves from impure thoughts, from inauspicious dispositions, from sins, from passions. And on this day, we must strive to do everything to protect our true gods, our gurus, our scriptures, to protect dharma, to protect our dharmatmas, who are the ones who embody dharma, and to protect our dharmayatans, which are places of worship. Now, Vishnu Kumar Muniraj, he had these very auspicious thoughts of protection, and may each one of us here be guided by his auspiciousness of protection to all others, to anyone who is in any sort of pain and suffering. And while we extend our compassion to others, may we all be very compassionate to our own souls, which is constantly being in the fire of attachment and aversion. May we protect ourselves from the bondage of karmas and from the bondage of rag and dvesh. Now let's come on to the next periodic festival, which is Mahavir Janma Kalyanak. And we have just very recently celebrated this with great pomp and zeal and zest. It's celebrated once annually on the 13th day of the waxing moon, which is the Chaitra Shukla Trayodashi in the month of April. Lord Mahavir was born on the 13th day of the waxing moon cycle in the month of Chaitra, the Chaitra Shukla Trayodashi, which is celebrated as Mahavir Janma Kalyanak. He was born to Trishala Mata Siddharth and King Siddharth, and at birth he was taken on by Indra to the Pandukshila. So, all over the world, there's lots of big celebrations about Balak Vardhaman or Balak Mahavir. Mahavir Janma Kalyanak is commemorated because it marks his final birth, which was extraordinary as he terminated the cycle of birth and death forever, and he guided numerous other souls onto the path of liberation. This celebration is an opportunity for us to draw inspiration and to also break free from our cycle of transmigration. It's not just about singing glories of the baby Tirthankar, of him going on to the Pandukshila and singing songs, but it's also a very, very wonderful opportunity, a very auspicious day to remember his teachings about ahimsa as, as a way of life. So, ahimsa in our code of conduct or acharan, anekan in our thoughts, in our perceptions, in our mind, Syadvad in our words, in our Vani, and aparigraha, possessionless, non attachment in our lives. Let's make non attachment, minimalism for householders as a way of life. So, Mahavir Janma Kalyana is a very important periodic festival for all of us to embody the values which Mahavir Swami has taught us. He has been preaching for 30 consecutive years after his Keval Gyan. He has been preaching about the values of ahimsa, anekan, syadvad, aparigraha, and may each one of us emulate those values. Now coming to the festival of Deepawali. While Hindus associated with homecoming of Sri Ram after his victory over Ravan in Jainism, it signifies the liberation of Bhagwan Mahavir. When is it celebrated? annually once. So we've been seeing how the periodic festivals are celebrated annually once and how we had celebrated the Shlakshan Parva and Ashtanik Parva. They came thrice a year, whereas Ashtami and Chaturdashi were coming every fortnightly. Now, this one here is once annually on the new moon day of Kartik, which is Kartik Krishna Amavasya, about October and November. Now, a lot of people will will have this notion of Amavasya being a very inauspicious day, and they'll refrain themselves from doing certain things on Amavasya. But for us, Amavasya is very, very auspicious because it was on this day that Bhagwan Mahavir set himself free from the cycle of transmigration and attained liberation. He attained liberation from Pavapuri in Bihar on this day, and Gautam Gandhar, his chief disciple, attained omniscience, which is Keval Gyan, on the same day. So, omniscience was where he could see the past, present, future of all the substances in the universe simultaneously. That is the power of Keval Gyan. And what an amazing disciple Gautam Swami was. He was his prime disciple, that he embodied all the teachings and he emulated all his preachings and attained Keval Gyan on the same day. Deepawali holds significant importance for all Jains and for everyone for that matter who wants who wants to attain freedom and liberation. We should utilize it as an opportunity to delve deeper into the teachings of Lord Mahavir and celebrate it as he advocated by attaining self realization. What do we see Deepavali as? The moment Deepavali is one of those festivals celebrated with most pomp all over the world. And Deepavali has actually been celebrated in many ways where it should not be. So all the don'ts have been emulated as the do. People will burn crackers, light diyas. Well, nowadays many refrain from burning crackers because we are all very aware of the green revolution and the noise pollution harmful to the self and the environment, the carbon emissions. So, a lot of them refrain as being very, very environmentally active. But what about lighting lamps? How auspicious could that be? Because whenever we light a lamp, the fire is also a one sense being. And imagine the number of two, three, four, five sense creatures that burn themselves, that lose their lives within that fire. Now Mahavira, he preached ahimsa for 30 consecutive years. He preached Bhagwan Mahavir preached the core principle of ahimsa in his Divyadvani, in the divine sermons, in the divine pavilions. And here are we still lighting lamps in the name of ahimsa. This is the irony that could lead us here. We believe in him, but do we really believe in his teachings? His true disciple was only Gautam Swami, who actually lit the lamp of Keval Gyan. Bhagwan Mahavir attained liberation and Gautam Swami attained Keval Gyan. Have you ever wondered, why am I suffering in this cycle of transmigration? Lighting lamps, offering laddus, food, decorations, new clothes. Is this the way to destruction of my suffering eternally? May the light of non-violence, of peace, of self-realization illuminate in our lives. This Diwali, let the lamp of knowledge, of Gyan, of Vairagya, of detachment, of Sayam, which is discipline, be endowed upon us. Diwali is one of the most auspicious festivals celebrated by people worldwide, and this Diwali may we remind ourselves to shine from within, to realize, who am I, where have I come from, and what is my final destination. Well, you and I might not be able to attain omniscience like Bhagwan Gautam Swami or attain liberation like Mahavir Swami in this birth, but each one of us, all souls, have the potential for self realization, which is the first step onto the path of liberation which has been preached to us by Bhagwan Mahavir Swami. So, in summary, every festival holds its own significance and narrative. Yet, the underlying objective of celebrations shares a very common theme, which is self awareness. It's not just about reading, but it's about reflecting, it's about repetition, and most important, it's about self realization. The soul is deeply immersed in self realization. That is what embodies a festival. Traditional Jain festivals guide individuals towards inner awakening. It's unveiling bliss and pure joy. And we saw how the very word festival originated from the Latin word festivus, which means emulating joy. That is the entire essence of a festival. Understanding the essence of celebration is crucial. As rituals and fasts, there's a lot of us, we've spent endless births in rituals and fasts, but without understanding the true essence of what celebration is, without understanding the true essence of the soul and the non soul, it may only fuel pride and other passions. Delving into the true reason behind each festival is imperative. And until and unless we realize the true reason, we embody who I am truly, everything that we do will only lead us to auspicious dispositions. But it'll keep us from the highest potential, from unleashing the truth within us, that is Shuddhopyog, or reaching the pure dispositions. Festival days, they create a pure environment for religious activities like contemplation. Therefore, every householder should dedicate time, especially on the festival days. Well, daily life, the grind can be very busy, but festival days are a golden opportunity, the much needed time we all need, which we call me time. Here are festivals to give us our me time, to practice the six essentials, which are Dev Puja, Guru Upasana, Swadhyay, Sayam, Tap, and Dan, to avoid uneatable foods and engage in reading and contemplation. Let's celebrate all these festivals in their true essence and discover the joy within ourselves. Now, we saw eternal festivals and we saw periodic festivals. And the core purpose, the core message for all these festivals was to emulate, to embody the joy within ourselves, just as our Tirthankars have been doing from the past. So, be it Dashlakshan Parva or be it Dashlakshan Parva for embodying the 10 dharmas, which are the nature of the soul, we learn the nature of the environment, we learn the nature of the universe. But what is it that I have not learned in all my past births? And that is, who am I? What am I here for? And how and where do I need to get to here from? Each and every festival is coming only with the sole purpose of we leading to our core. The only way to go, we all want to be successful, and the only way to be eternally successful and have peace along with that success is self realization, knowing who I am, knowing what is my true nature, and at the same time, also knowing what I am not. So I am a pure soul. I am not a non soul. I am a living being. I am not a non living. And this wisdom of discernment is what will lead us to unleashing our true potential as explained by our Tirthankars. And this leads us to an inner awakening. May all this knowledge about festivals, all the different periodic festivals, the eternal festivals, may all this knowledge lead us onto the path which has been shown by Ma Janvani to all of us. Well, you and I are not as lucky to go to a Samav Sharan and learn from our fathers, from our arihants, who are our fathers. However, we are extremely lucky because of the foresightedness of our acharyas to still have Majanvani to teach us everything that we need to get rid of this cycle of suffering and cycle of birth and death. Last time we saw how the entire mundane, sorry, the entire mundane world is like a fire of a ring of fire as a suffering. And how can we get rid of this ring of fire? There's no one in this entire wide world who can actually show us the right steps to get rid of this suffering. And how grateful we should be to all our Tirthankars, all our Gandhars, our Acharyas, and everyone who has played their little role to pass on this knowledge. And the onus is now upon us. It is each one of our responsibility, first to embody, to learn ourselves, and then to pass on, to transfer. It could even be translation. And I'm so grateful to the JEEV team for this opportunity and for the magnanimous work they are doing in translating the knowledge and passing it on to the next generations to come. First, it was Prakrit, and then Sanskrit, and then the local vernacular knowledges. And now is the need to send it forward to everyone all over the world. Festival days, they create a very, very pure environment. And while we are busy cleaning homes and cleaning countries, cities, what about inner cleaning? This is such an important and such an auspicious time for cleaning all our passions, for cleaning the jealousy, for cleaning all the greed within us. And there can be no better time than festivals to lead us to that sense of inner cleaning and which leaves us with a sense of peace and purity. Now, have you ever wondered all the festivals that we discussed about, the core value that was emulated was ahimsa? Do we have any questions, Harshilji?
Yes, yes. Okay, so before we go towards the audience, we have one question from our social media platform
Mhm.
about celebration of Holi. Do we have any significance of Holi in Jainism, or why we don't celebrate it?
Great question. Um, well, I'm sure this question will throw light on many important aspects, which some people knew and some people had at the back of their mind. Why did not we discuss?
Pallavi, you can unshare your screen.
So, sure.
Yeah.
Why have we not discussed Holi or Dasera, for that matter, in any of the Jain festivals? Well, the core principle of Bhagwan Mahavir's teaching, the core principles of all our Arihants' teachings is ahimsa. And when we study saw ahimsa, we saw it is in our thoughts, our words, and actions. So Holi is related with fire. It's called Holika Dehan, where something is put to fire, is exposed to fire, and how fire has one sense, Jeeves, and the very act of uh, putting something into fire, of adding something into fire, is an act of hinsa by itself because all those one sense jeeves are dying. And what about all the other jeeves which are attracted to the fire and they lose their lives? Again, an irony that Bhagwan Mahavir has taught us about ahimsa, and we here, in the name of festival, in the name of joy, in the name of pleasure, how could we even dare to have non-violence? How could we dare to stand for a religion of non-violence, to believe in a religion whose core principle is non-violence, and yet do the slightest of violence in the name of pleasure? So that is the reason Holi and even Dasera is not celebrated, because in Jainism, in the values that we have learned in Jainism, this comes under anartha danda. It's purposeless violence. What is the pleasure that I can get? Well, even if there is a smallest living being, And I say to everyone, well, I'll give you $1,000 or $1,000,000 if you step over it. And I am sure not just Jains, but most other people would do everything to save a living being. And in spite of all that, how can we even dare to flick hundreds and thousands of living beings into fire? And for those who might even say, well, how do I believe fire also has living beings? How should I believe? Why should I believe that fire is a one sensed being? Well, a very, very quick little experiment which could be done is if we light a lamp and if we cover it with a beaker or maybe a glass or a bowl, what happens? It'll get extinguished, isn't it? So all living beings live on oxygen, and the moment you're covering it up, you're depriving them, you're depleting the oxygen, and they're going to lose their life. So they stop illuminating. The lamp will be put off. And isn't that enough for us who need logical, who need a scientific background for everything? Our Tirthankars have been telling us since time immemorial that earth, water, air, fire. We all believe in plants as being a living being, but what about earth, water, air, and fire as well? So that is one of the reasons that we do not celebrate Holi or Dasera. Or rather, why do we celebrate only festivals which which look forward to another opportunity to follow hinsa in the to follow ahimsa, I'm sorry, to follow non-violence in the strictest of senses. I hope that was that has quenched your query, that has quenched your thirst for knowledge. And I'm really very glad about the curiosity that led to this question.
Yeah, very happy with the audience for throwing out such good questions. Also, I want to add one more point to this question.
Sure.
So usually Mumukshus or Swadhyay Jeev all have this tendency of extracting adhyatma from every festival. So I think this is also the reason, since we don't have any significance to the Holi festival,
Mhm.
still we celebrate it in a way like it's a festival of Muniraj playing Holi with their internal colors and getting rid of the external moh, krodh, lobh, and everything. That's why we have this bhakti called Holi Khele Muniraj Shikhar Van Mein.
Absolutely.
So I
Yes.
think this can also be a good support that though we don't have any significance to the festival, but it's a festival of Muniraj, we can have a comparison of this festival.
Right. And we can use the same analogy like we light a lamp, like we light a lamp of knowledge, a lamp of Bheda Vigyan, a lamp of Sayam or discipline, a lamp of Vairagya. Here, what are we trying to burn? We are trying to burn down our passions.
Right,
So, if there is anything we must burn, it is our karmas, our passions, our rag dvesh that will lead to our karmas.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you so much. Yeah.
yeah.
And do we have any more questions?
I was asked a question called, which was why can't birthdays be celebrated as festivals? So we celebrate Mahavir Swami's birthday, and why can't we celebrate our birthday? And I think this is a very very logical question, and more pertaining to the younger generation because my grandparents and for that matter my parents, when they were young, their birthdays were not celebrated. It was not commemorated as a very special day, as in cutting a cake. That was not essential. Well, I often say if you really want to cut something, it's time to cut your karmas. How many cakes have we cut in our lives? So, well, the way the modern generation celebrates a birthday, it's almost called like a vyartha day, not a birthday, but it's your life going waste. But may our birthdays be an occasion, a very, very auspicious occasion for us to reflect on who I am really, on have I made my birth worthwhile for living? What is it? What is that one thing that I must attain in this birth before I leave this world? May that be the fire in your belly. May that give you fulfillment. All the knowledge around us will give us information. There's so much information on Google itself. So, acquisition of knowledge is one thing, but the most important thing is the transformation, the inner change, the inner awakening that will lead us to our final destination. So, well, yes, you must celebrate. And why birthday? Every single day of your life is so important. And this human birth we have attained with such difficulty. And now that we have attained it, we must make sure that this is our best birth to get rid of the cycle of birth and death. So we must do everything in our regard, everything that we must do. Because let me ask you two questions. If not you, who will destroy your karmas? And if not now, when am I going to start destroying my karmas? So if these are the two questions each one of us asks ourselves, not just on our birthday, not just every day, but if we can have that every moment. Remember, Ma Janwani teaches us not just how to read, but how to sit, how to talk, how to walk, how to think. Each and everything that we require for our lives is given to us by Ma Janwani. So our birthdays are times to commemorate, to be very, very grateful. The only thing, when you want to have more of something, the only way to have it is to be very grateful. So our birthdays are times when we must be grateful to our Tirthankars, our Gandhars, our Acharyas, our parents, all our teachers who have brought this knowledge and enlightened us with that knowledge. And now the onus is only upon us to transform. They've almost given you, everything that you need to nurture yourself. But still, if I do not digest that, where is that going to lead me? So let me leave everyone with this very, very important question. If not you, who? And if not now, when will be the time for a for a transformation and getting rid of this cycle of transmigration?
This is truly questionable for us born in Jain families, and we have got access to all the resources, Gurudev Shri's Vani, Simandar Bhagwan's Vani, and got the resources such as JEEV portal as well, where you can easily learn the Jinagam in a very systematic English format as well.
Yes.
So, do we have any other questions, or I have two, three questions with the audience?
I also had a request that the festivals that we've delved into have been, I have only been able to touch base very, very superficially on each of them. And I apologize, and that is because of the time constraint. And I'm sure the Jeev team would work on it when the time for the festival arrives to delve deeper into the festival and to understand the more spiritual significance of the festival. My apologies that I've only been able to touch them very, very superficially, but I'm sure we will fathom the depth of it one day.
Definitely, yeah. So let me take a short quiz based on what we learned. So I'll name a festival, and anyone from you have to answer whether it is eternal festival or periodic. Okay.
Mhm.
So the first festival I would say is Rishabdev Bhagwan's Janma Kalyanak. Is this periodic or eternal? Anyone from the audience? Rishabdev Bhagwan's, yeah, Janma Kalyanak. Kinjaldi.
Yes, Siddhant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a periodical festival.
Okay, yeah. Any justification which you wanted to provide why it is periodic?
Yes, because Shabdev Bhagwan means Shabdev was born. So after he was born, it started, and eternal festivals don't start and don't end.
Right, right, right. So true. Thank you so much. As well as Vijaldi also answered in the chat. So the last question I would ask is, I would say, any example of eternal festival? Any example? So periodic are Sadi Anand and eternal are Anadi Anand. So any example of eternal festival? You can also provide from the lecture the name. No one? Okay. So there are many festivals, but Solar Current Mahaparv, Dashlakshan Mahaparv, these are Anadi Anant. So these can be considered as eternal festivals. And I think we should end the lecture. Before ending the lecture, let me just shortly brief you all with the access points.
Arshilji, sorry, I've just got one point here.
Yes, please.
Um, the one word that leads us to this very festival.
Okay.
We all are very proud of ourselves as Jains. And if we think of the very meaning of the word Jain, well, Jain is only a term that was coined a few hundreds years ago. Before that, there was nothing called Jin Dharma. There was Shraman Parampara, or the tradition of Shramans. The very word Jain, Jain, tells us we need to go within. So the one who goes in, in, the one whoever goes within, is an opportunity to celebrate a festival. So may we all be real giants and go within and celebrate the joy within us. Thank
That's the primary focus for all the scriptures we read, for all the swadhyay we do, and also our daily activities. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Uh, okay, so these are the accessible points I would say, and I have already shared these links along with you for the accessibility points, and you can log into the website as well as yeah. So all of the social media handles I've mentioned here. Also, I want to add one more point. Since our team is working very hard to make all this content possible available on the website, which not only includes lecture materials but also include English pravachan of Gurudev Shri, English translation with subtitles, and there are many other uh, documents which are available you can access on the website and take the essence of Jindharam. So you can access through these websites. If any questions, feel free to contact support@jeev.net.in and yeah, ready to help for that. At last, Jinwan.
Harshil,
Yes.
I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
Very recently, we have released the Jain Festivals video, which the
Oh,
users can access if they, subscribe to the course. So I would request everyone who wants to watch the entire video of Jain Festivals need to subscribe and they can watch the video. Thank you.
sure. Thank you, Dee, for putting up this point. So you can visit the website, log in, subscribe. Once you subscribe, you get access and updates of all the postings which happen every day, every week, and right after the lecture as well. So you will get the notification because these content is kind of our team is working very hard for it, and this content is available free for everyone, for every mumukshu, and for everyone who want to take the essence of Jindaram. So definitely you can access these courses as well as the websites. Yeah. Thank you. And Jinwani Stuti by Pallavi.
निज निधि निज में बता दी, यह अनंत उपकार है। इसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना शत बार है, वंदना शत बार है,
No,
वंदना
no, Bar, no,
शत बार है। 9 नमोकार मंत्र